6, The Rise of the Shamans by Nikipu, which is me. So, recently in the Vikings world we got a new update, and the new update is the Shamans, the new heroes. I think a lot of people were waiting for something like that. We were expecting new hero levels perhaps, new hero skills, and we got that, sorta. But I don't know if anybody actually predicted a whole new set of heroes. But I thought it was kind of interesting. So before I begin with the video, I wanted to give some shoutouts. Give a shout out to my kingdom, 329, the best kingdom. My clan, the Orcs, obviously the best clan. Some people that helped me put the video together, which is Beanie, Holden, Peggy, Magumbo from Kingdom 327. If I forgot you, I'm sorry. Please don't kill me. Maybe I'll give you a shout out in the next video. Oh, and also the Viva chat room, which is a lineup chat that I sit in. Those guys helped me out. They gave me some... I was doing research. I couldn't find certain information, and it helped me out. So I really appreciate it. Couldn't make this video without you. Yeah. So what's this new update about? This right here was the press release that Plarium released. I'm not going to read it word for word, but I'm going to go over everything. So the first thing is the Shamans, which is, I already showed you this right here. We got two of them. This guy, Baggy the Big, I used to call him Braggy the Big, but I guess I was wrong. So I just call him the fat guy because he's kind of fat. And then we also have Inga the Wise. In order to get Inga the Wise, you have to buy these packs to get the charms. Looks like I don't even know that pack right now. But yeah, you need to buy certain packs in order to unlock Inga. And I haven't done that yet, so I'm not really going to talk too much about her, other than the fact that she has these really cool horns. I thought that was pretty neat. And you can actually see what her hero skills are and what her boosts are from every stage that you get. But besides that, there's not really much I can go over. Baggy the Big, on the other hand, I've done a little bit with him, and we'll go over him in detail. He's pretty neat. So what else is there? Ghosts and their shelters. Ghosts are these things. So right now we have this little piggy out. Ghosts are basically just new invaders. That's really all they are. You can go in your watchtower. Now it has a section for ghosts. You can find one. They have different levels, 1 through 6, just like normal invaders. You can TP next to one. You can hit them with your shaman hero. So they use the shaman instead of the normal hero. But you also need knowledge in order to unlock them, just like you did with the other invaders. And there's a whole new tree of knowledge for the shamans. You can see the only thing I've done so far is unlock Ghost 1. A lot of the stuff we already know from the other invaders. We know that, for instance, weaken the ghost is pretty important. If you want to get better materials, you want to hit the shaman the hardest. Shaman's offense is really important. You'll notice that some of this stuff has war skills, like for instance the amount of troops you can put in a march can be affected by the shaman. Also this is basically a reducer. Shaman's influence on enemy defense, so it reduces it. So some of this is not necessarily all about ghosts, but for the most part that's what this shaman knowledge section is. And I haven't done any of it, but yeah, that's how you hit these invader things. So the runes in the runes workshop. So we have two new buildings. This is what they look like. This building right here is for the shaman experience, and we'll go over that in a little bit. And this building right here is where it's a rune workshop. It's kind of like your normal workshop, but this one is specifically for runes. Okay. So there's a ghost banishment competition. I don't know if it's on right now, but it's going to be one of these right here. So for hitting ghosts, you get, boosts and gold and all that stuff. One thing I'd like to point out, that right now there is no points for ghosts in clan versus clan or kingdom revenge. Yeah, I'm sure that's going to change soon, but right now you're not getting any points for hitting them. I'm sure you will. So Yeah, the Ghost Banishment Competition, new Onslaught Mechanics. Now, before I talk about the Onslaught Mechanics, I wanted to point out something else. I think this is important, and you need to know this. So let me go find like a nice level town. So this guy right here. When you select a march nowadays, you actually have 2 heroes up here instead of 1. And you can send them both together, or you can send just one, or you can send none, obviously. And the thing you need to remember is that if you only send this hero, then your troops only have the hero skills and the bonuses that come with this hero. If you send just Baggy, then whatever skills and bonuses he has is the only thing you're going to get on your troops. If you select them both, then they combine. So like, let's say this guy has 100 attack, this one has 50 attack, they combine together to get 150 attack. This becomes important. I'm going to explain why this is important. But you now have the option to send 2 heroes in one march, right? The Onslaught mechanic works like this. So they changed it to where when you start an Onslaught, you actually have to have a hero now. I don't think that's how it was before. But you can send one or the other or both. And you can actually load 2 marches, because you can load 1 march with this hero, and then you can load a march with that hero. So that kind of like doubles your ability to load how many troops you have in the Onslaught. But remember what I said. Whatever troops you send with Baggy, they're going to have Baggy's hero skills and Baggy's war points, which is not going to be a whole lot right now. Baggy is kind of a farming guy. He doesn't really have a lot of war points. So that's just something to consider, but effectively that doubles the amount of troops that you could send to an Onslaught, and to some people that's going to be a big deal. If you have a lot of knowledge and you don't really care too much about hero skills, then you can basically load 2 marches. I wouldn't advise it. I've done some tests. The troops are Baggy even with somebody with a ton of knowledge, and not really that strong right now. Moving right along. Let me see. So I went over the new Onslaught mechanics, new boosts. There is some really interesting new boosts that came out with this update. The ones I care about the most are like offense 50%, but it's not really a lot considering before it was 45%. These new reducers up to 35% from 30, I think that's a big deal actually, because 5% of reducers will cost you a ton of knowledge. This one I really like, the 175% march enlargement. That's actually a really big deal. If you have a castle size 31, that actually adds, I think, like 100,000 troops to your march. That's quite a bit. You also have the Shaman experience boost, and we're going to talk about this in just a second. And we have, I think that may be all the boosts that we have. May have missed one, but those are the new boosts that came out. New Watchtower, we went over that. Shaman Rune Workshop, we went over that. Alright. So let's talk about my initial impression of what I thought about this update when it first came out. When my first impression, the first time I looked at it. The very first thing I looked at was the gear that the guys have. So it's important to note that you unlock gear slots through hero skills. And you get 1 slot per stage, and you start with just 1 stage, which is this one, and then you have to gradually unlock them until you unlock all 6 of them, which, as you can see, I haven't done yet. But so the first thing I looked at was the gear, and I'm looking at it like, okay, so Mask of Valor, right? Construction speed 7.5. Well, we know we have one called Beyond Goblet that has 56%, so 7.5, 56%, okay. Scout offense, 5.5. You know, if you look at this one, 28 times 3, okay, I guess that's cool, you know, it's extra. But is it something I'm going to just, you know, stop doing everything I was working on and just start focusing on that? Of course not, you know, it's just not a lot. There are other things that I'm focusing on right now. So I didn't think much of it. I was just like, okay, yeah, this is cool. I'm sure the percents, you know, I think you look at this, for every stage you get construction, food production. Like construction is the one that I really saw. I was like, okay, I mean, that's kind of cool. But again, it's not something I'm going to go way out of my way to get. That was my first impression, and I was way off. I was completely wrong. And the thing that I didn't notice was that once you start unlocking and start crafting this gear, you can actually put gems in it. And let me show you what I mean. So you see how I put 3 gems, just like any other, normal legendary piece, you can put 3 legendary gems. In this one, you can also put 3 legendary gems. And remember what I told you, these two combine. So when you add, let's say, 6 construction gems, that adds 60% construction to what you already have. If you do that with learning, you get 60%. You do that with training, you get 60%. That's a big deal. It makes a big difference. I'm on stage 4, so this is how much I get on my stage, which is already a lot. And that's just for learning, building, and training. If you add 6 rubies, 6 tourmalines, 6 taffies, you'll get 60% of everything for all your troops that you send with the shaman. That's a lot. And if you just do one specific troop, like let's say scouts, you can actually get even more because they have specific, they have their own gems that come from the Ubers that give you 12% instead of 10. Again, this is a lot. This makes a pretty big difference. This is worth doing. And as you can see, as soon as I saw that, I instantly got up to stage 4. But it gets more expensive as it goes along, and let's go over that. So let's look at the costs. Where is this? So there are 6 separate stages, and in order to unlock the next stage, you need to get charms. So one thing I'll mention is that with this hero, you didn't have any stages. So you go from level 1 to level 2 to level 10 to level 12 to level 20, 24, whatever. It didn't stop until you hit 60. With this one, it's a little bit different. With this one, you go from 0, you start at 0 just like the other one, but then you stop at 10. And you can't get any more experience until you go to the next stage. And in order to get to the next stage, you need to get these charms. And the only way to get the charms is through the clan store right now. You can't buy them with gold. You can't really get them any other way. And each charm costs 12,500 loyalty points. So just to get to stage 2, which is then goes up to level 20, you need 10 charms, which is, if you do the math, that's 125,000 clan points. That's really not a lot. Most of us are going to have that. And if you don't have any and you need to get 125 clan points, you're going to need to do about 20 task refreshers. Now, I'm going to point out, it says estimate in big letters. I asked several people. I asked them, hey, how many have you done? What did you get out of them? They say you get about 1 charm out of 2 task refreshers. So if you need 10 charms, you're going to have to do 20 of them. This gold cost is how much it costs to apply a new task refresher. So if you have no task refreshers whatsoever, it's going to cost you 40,000 gold to get to stage 2, which really isn't bad. I mean, I think most people can handle that. And so it goes up to 10, then you can go up to level 20 once you get to stage 2. Stage 3, you go up to 30. Stage 4, you go up to 40. One thing I wanted to point out, if you look at, like, let's say you wanted to unlock the amulet slot, which is where I'm at right now. Let's say I wanted to unlock the first one. If I go to the hero skills and click on it, it's going to say you need level 41. Some people thought that was stage 4, but that's actually stage 5 because 41 to 50 is 5. And in order to get the last amulet slot, you basically get 1 slot per stage. You start with this, and then you go all the way up to 6. In order to get the last one, you need 900 charms, which is, it's quite a bit. But it's still worth it considering what you get out of it, which is what I was talking about, the extra % you get with the gems. So assuming that you had no clan task refreshers at all, you had no loyalty points at all, it's going to cost you 6 million gold, and you're going to have to do 3,000 refreshers. This takes some time. It took me, I think a couple hours to do 300 task refreshers. Obviously 800 is going to take me even longer. 1,800, that's going to be a bit of a stretch. But it's doable, and I've seen people do it. It's totally worth it, especially the first 4 stages. So I wanted to do a cost comparison. Like, okay, let's say I was going to try to get the same thing I get out of the first 4 stages, which costs less than 1,000,000 gold, out of knowledge. So what I did is, you remember this knowledge right here? This used to be, until Castle 31 came out, was the last knowledge that you did. This was expensive and made your troops a little bit stronger. And really only the big guys had this stuff maxed out, right? I mean, if you look at me, this is where I'm at now, and I'm not even on the last level of this. I collected the amount of cost it would take you to go from, if you had all this stuff at level 14 and you decided one day to just go to level 15, max all this out, just for the last level you would get 35% of, troop attack during attack, troop held during attack, troop defense during attack. You basically get 35% of everything if you max out all of them. So how much is that going to cost you? Okay, 1.9 billion food, 1.9 billion lumber, that much iron, that much stone, 22 billion silver. I've never had that much silver. I mean, I think the most I've ever had is like 5 billion. 90 million gold. I don't know too many people that had that much gold ever. I'm sure some people have, but nowhere near. I mean, I think the most I've ever had is like 5. And 822 weeks of boost, if that's the route that you took. It might be a little bit less for you if your knowledge percent is better. And for doing all that, for spending all those resources, all them boosts, you'd get 35%. Now, if you unlock the first 4 stages of baggy, you put 4 rubies, 4 tourmalines, and now I used melee offense, but if you use taffies, you'd get 40% of everything. So 35% of everything, 40% of everything. This costs less than 1,000,000 gold. It's going to take you a little bit of time to do the task refreshers. I mean, you don't have to be Einstein to see which one is a better investment. And that's just for fighting. I didn't even talk about, I did stage 4 here. You get 40% of that, and obviously the fighting points. It's a no-brainer. I think just about everybody should at least try to get themselves here. It's awesome. It's really useful. So let's talk about XP real quick. I think I kind of went a little bit too fast through that. This building right here, I only have it at level 25. You get 225% XP. It works kind of the same way as this one. You get most of your experience points from either doing the refreshers or from fighting. I think that's where you get them. And don't forget that you have this boost here. So in order to get the hero skills, you need those XP points, right? And in order to, so you're going to need those hero skills also to unlock the different stages. So that's something that you need to remember. It's not just a matter of doing the charms. You also have to do the hero skills. But, you see it's level 25, and that was plenty for me. If my castle was 25, I could now get 40% of everything from just doing that. That's going to make a big difference when I go to castle 26, when I go to castle 27. It's going to save me some money. It's going to be it's a very wise investment, in my opinion. All right, so we talked about the charms, we talked about the levels, the gold, how you get the charms. Let's talk about the other stuff that you get. You see how I wrote braggy here? It's really baggy. These percents are from hero skills and from the stage points that you get right here. So once you have them at stage 6, this is what you'll get. You'll get 55% construction, minus 5% reduction cost, which when you start spending billions of resources to do the more expensive stuff is going to make a difference. You get these farming points, which if you hyper farm in your town, let's say you hyper farm in food, that's pretty good for 120%. The military points, like I said, Baggy doesn't really have a lot of military stuff, so 10% capacity, practically irrelevant. And the ghosts, once you start hitting those, which I haven't done yet, but we'll talk about it in a second, we all know that reduced ghost defense, Shamans offense, which used to be the hero offense for the normal invaders, all that stuff is important. So you're going to need all this when you start hitting those. And I also quickly said this is how many you can get with gems. So you can put 6 construction gems, 6 legendary construction gems. You take 60 plus 55. You can now get 115% reduction on your construction. That's a lot. It does add up. It's going to save you money. And obviously this is adding the lumber production, stone production, whatever production, runes, and the resource yield. Not runes, I'm sorry, the gems. Runes, I'm kind of getting far ahead of myself, so let's talk about runes. I think I remember WWM made a video about the lie of the runes, the lie of the runes. They're telling us we're going to have runes, but we don't have runes. Well, now we have runes. And they're a pretty big deal. They're not the cheapest in the world, but they are a big deal. And the way they work is that you're actually going to get them by hitting the ghosts, which right now I can only hit level 1 ghosts, and I really wish the map would cooperate with me. So I'll go ahead and hit some of these real quick. Really, I'm looking for one drop in particular. The fragments. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted. So this is what you get when you hit invaders, and the better the level of the invader, the better fragment. You can actually click on the invader himself, and it'll tell you what kind of runes he's currently dropping. You know, if you're focused on cavalry, if that's one of your main troops, and this is something you're going to want to go after. And all these percents, I've actually done the research for you, and I can tell you what you get. And that's what this is. So right now we have the rock boar. This is the different type of runes he gets. This is the different level of runes. We're used to, you know, simple, usual, unusual, rare, epic, legend. The higher the level, the more fragments you're going to need. And this is the other ones that have come out so far. So you can see the pattern. They each have one offense gem. Some of them have construction. Some of them learning. I think there was one that had training speed. And they also have these production runes. So real quick, let's go over the rune slots. They've always been there, but you could never do anything with them. But now, if you have runes, you can put them in there. One thing I'd like to point out that I don't know if everybody kind of has clued into this, but when you have 6 pieces of gear that each have a rune spot, and then you have 6 more here, or in my case 4 more, that's 12 runes that you can have at any point doing whatever you want them to do. So if you collected 12 cavalry attack runes, you would then have 384 cav attack in addition to what you had before. 384 attack. 384%, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Lich is going to really like that. You know, just something tells me that's something he's going to be interested in. As you can see, I pointed out where this rune slot is. That's a big deal, man. That's going to be a game changer. I think when people start putting together these offense runes, you're going to see some major hits. I actually saw one today. I can't really talk about it because it was kind of private. But I saw a really huge hit from somebody who I know has these runes. They make a big difference. They really do. 12 legendary knowledge runes is 112%. Yeah, I mean, it's good. It will make a difference, but if you are hitting runes right now, if you're hitting ghosts, I'm sorry, they're not the cheapest. You know, this knowledge you need to buy fairly expensive packs. You need to work on knowledge that is not necessarily cheap. So if you're going to be hitting the runes, I mean the ghosts, this is what you're going after. You're going after the attack runes. That's the big one. That's the 384 attack. And I just quickly said, okay, well, let's say you only get 12 unusual runes. That's 153% attack, 153.6. Remember we looked at this, you know, for just 35% attack, you'd have to spend all that. Well, this is 153% attack. You know, it's like, what, more than 4 times the amount. It makes a difference. It's going to be huge. And the way that people are going to put this together is that when they're fighting, they're going to be using these runes, and when they're learning, they're going to have 12 of these, whatever level they got, and when they're doing construction, they're going to have 12 of those. And it's going to save them money, and it's going to give them big hits. So that's why you want the runes. Not the cheapest, not for everybody at the moment, but I'm pretty sure they're going to make this stuff cheaper. Real quick, I managed to smuggle something for you guys. This is a picture of Lich when the Cav runes first came out. Just something I happened to stumble across. You know, he was pretty happy to see them, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna have them. Okay, I just felt like being goofy for a second there. All right, I think that covers everything I wanted to cover. I may have missed some stuff. I didn't really go over how you combine the runes, but I don't have anything to combine at the moment. You see, I don't really have enough fragments to combine anything, and for that you need to hit the ghost. I I briefly talked about Inga. So you see how baggy he has construction points. When you get to stage 6 you get 30%. If we're gonna look at Inga, she's more of a knowledge girl. She gets 30% knowledge. She's more of a training girl. She gets 20% training speed. If you look at her skills, you're gonna see the same pattern. You're gonna see knowledge, learning cost, learning speed, training speed. The different tiers of troops are gonna be cheaper. All that stuff is gonna be like a must-have in the next couple of months. I think just about everybody's gonna get it. Right now, obviously, very few people have it, and that's fine. So yeah, I think that's the video. I hope I didn't forget anything very important. If you have any questions, please let me know. If you send me a private message or if you just comment on the video, I'll try to answer. I'm probably going to make a part 2 to this to cover all the things that I forgot. I really hope to get some more knowledge done for the ghosts, and so I can show you how the runes are done, what they actually do. Right now, the best I can do for you is just to show you what you get for them for the different ghosts that we have that have come out. Yeah, if you liked the video, please like and subscribe. It means a lot to me. I appreciate it. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed it.